The group of 7 leaders launched a $600 billion global infrastructure initiative they say will compete with China's Belt and Road Initiative.
And VOA's White House correspondent Anita Powell reports from Telfs, Austria, with reporting from Petsuwida Kuswara in Washington.
The G7 Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment plans to offer developing nations $600 billion in infrastructure funding by 2027 as an alternative to China's massive Belt and Road Initiative. President Joe Biden unveiled the proposal at the G7 summit in Germany.
What we're doing is fundamentally different because it's grounded on our shared values of all those representing the countries and organizations behind me. It's built using the global best practices, transparency, partnership, protections for labor and the environment.
A third of the funding comes from the U.S. and the rest from other wealthy G7 nations, using modest government investments and establishing high standards designed to leverage private sector financing. The initiative is a relaunch of the Build Back Better World Plan, announced by G7 leaders last year.
The West had really been asleep at the wheel over the number of years on this use of connectivity, infrastructure connectivity, as a means of extending foreign policy influence. And so they are now coming together on a united project to sort of push this.
The G7 plan will focus on digital connectivity, gender equity, health security, climate and energy security, areas seen as not yet dominated by China's investments. It's billed as a better alternative to BRI, which has been criticized as debt trap diplomacy that Beijing employs to expand its influence. But meeting Western standards of labor and environment may prove challenging for countries.
Due to the level of ease of Chinese investments, these are often quite attractive because in the end of the day, when you're a developing country, you want the infrastructure now.
Beijing slammed the initiative as a zero-sum game approach.
We oppose the moves that advance geopolitical calculations and smear the Belt and Road Initiative in the name of promoting infrastructure development.
In the 9 years since it was launched, nearly 150 countries have signed up for China's BRI, so far totaling over 2,600 projects with a combined value of $3.7 trillion, according to data analysis firm